Greetings! This is Top Tier Tips. Greetings everyone, this is Force of Nature of Top Tier Tips. Welcome to my Lucky Chloe guide tutorial. Alright, so what is there to say about Lucky Chloe? Alright, she's a pop idol, pop sensation character, so she's kind of like the brand representative or kind of like the face of the G Corporation, so yeah, some people might think of her as evil, but I just think of her as kind of just a bubbly, lovable kind of, yeah, I mean, like cool dancer like girl. So yeah, there he is. But from a gameplay standpoint, Chloe's she's basically an offensive kind of mix-up poke-oriented type of character. So generally, a large objective with Chloe is just to kind of find ways to get in on your opponent and just kind of run mix-ups on them, hopefully to the point that they get frustrated, and then they can be opened up for some of Chloe's more relatively damaging combos, because she does have probably one of the stronger combo starters in the game. Like probably go over it like a little later, but I can just like show you an example right now. It's this one here, which is from back turn. It's her forward 3+4, 3+4, 3+4. So basically, all right. Continuing on with Chloe from a general sense, as I kind of implied earlier, with Chloe, to an extent, it is beneficial to be in close. But yeah, you can definitely fight her okay from like mid-range or further out if you want. I don't necessarily advise like long range, but like mid-range, close range, either that's fine. If you are in close, a couple pokes I do recommend is like her down forward one. Like this is a really good close poke. I think comes out in 13 frames, is only like -1 on block, so yeah, this move's like really abusable. For kind of as a little low poke, I like using her down back 4, mainly because it does also lead to a mid with down back 4/4. You can continue the string, and you can get a launcher after it. Yeah, and also with the down forward 1. It's also common combo filler, so you can end up seeing me abuse the shit out of that quite a bit later. But yeah, I do tend to like her down back 4, mainly because of the dangerous launcher option if the opponent does like completely disrespect that string. So also be a bit too careful if you're like too predictable with it, or the opponent can probably like end up sidestepping part of it and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, there are ways to like blow up Chloe players that get kind of too predictable with some of her flashy moves though. But having a launcher out of the string is always nice. For getting in, for like moves you can poke with, well, that's one move I do like there, which is also in my opinion is one of her better tracking moves. Is good tracking mid. That's back 3, so that is a good poke. Might end up going over like another aspect of that maybe just a little later, because the main thing also I do like about this move being a good poke is that it's if you hold back, it's one of the best ways for Chloe to end up entering into her back turn stance. Because once you enter into her back turn stance, then you can gain access to her. You can gain access to her very dangerous. If I can get it right now. To her very dangerous combo starter there. I mean, back turn forward 3+4, 3+4, 3+4. So I like using that poke to try and like kind of check an opponent. Does that mean it? So like if you're fighting around mid range, then this move is really good. Other stuff you can try is like her. That's a down forward 3/3. So it's you can see right there it's mid, even though the first hit looks like it starts slow, especially if you do both of them. But with this one you can. A very slight delay ability to it, even though I know like in Tekken there isn't necessarily like a huge amount of delay ability compared to like some other like 3D fighters, but if there's like any at all, then I would take it. But the main thing about this is that you can usually throw opponents off with the second hit, so So this move is a decent poke. Also, just using like simple 4 is also good. I mean, for Chloe, it is a mid kick, so those are little moves you can get. If you do want to like try and like get in with Chloe like from mid range, then I like using her scoot because it does provide mix-up opportunities, since you can go where her scoot is forward, forward, 4. You can do forward, forward, 4, then go into her down back forward, and even then you get the same follow-ups. See, then you can go into the string, or you can end up going for a mid. So technically there is a mix-up opportunity there. So I do tend to like her scoot move, her forward, forward, 4 move quite a bit. Alright, before I continue on with a bit more of Lucky Chloe's like key pokes, I'll just give a big recommendation that if you are basically just learning Lucky Chloe, a high recommendation is simply to go down to where the move list is, and you have the ability to scroll through it, but it's to press triangle and you can end up like displaying it in game. So you see right here, it starts off with the rage art, and when you hold down the touchpad plus R1, you'll move forward, and if you hold down the touchpad and press L1, you'll move back, so you can use that to scroll. So when you end up like practicing the string, and if you're comfortable with it, then you can move on to the next one and just do that. Like for this game, and like also, and of course it's for 3D fighters in general, it's generally recommended to go over like a character's move list, because generally with Lucky Chloe, she does have quite a bit of moves. I mean, for the actual number of listed moves she has right there, like just under 90, including the sample combos and throws and whatnot. Like this number of moves, I would say, is for Tekken 7. I actually would say is relatively average. Like a lot of the new characters added actually don't really have that many moves. Like majority of them don't really have like more than 100 moves though. But like some of them like more like veteran characters like Huang or Huarang, for example, does have like over 100 moves, or like I think like a Zhao Yu or a Nina also have like over 100 moves. But Lucky Chloe though, for number of moves he has, is not really that bad. So like keeping this on is actually really helpful. I would like it if it could show, like, I mean, like I'm a bit of a frame data kind of guy, so it would be nice if it could show you that. But there is also an option to, if I'm not mistaken, to show like the recovery animation. So what it does is show when you see that blue flash there, that shows the recovery animation for both the character performing the attack, and the blue obviously for the person getting bopped there, getting their ass kicked. The blue there, it shows when they're in a state of recovery though, so that can give you a slight idea of kind of what's safe, what's unsafe. So yeah, that's another tool there you can use though. But yeah, once you do kind of feel comfortable with Lucky Chloe's moveset, then well, then obviously you could start to like try and evaluate more moves here. Like the moveset doesn't automatically scroll, as I showed. Like you have to end up touching the touchpad plus R1 in order to move it though. But this is a highly recommended tool, I say, if you're trying to learn Lucky Chloe, or basically like any character in general. So I'll give you a little warning when playing Lucky Chloe that she unfortunately does suffer from what I call stubby limbitis, or TES, like T-Rex arm-itis. Is that in general her punching attacks, especially from like mid-range or out, may not necessarily have the best range. So you are likely going to be poking with her kicks. But in close, of course, her punch attacks become a bit more effective. Alright, so another attack that I do recommend in close, especially if you have like a slight advantage or if your opponent's on the defensive, is using her down 2. So this move here does come out in about 16 frames and is advantage on block at about +2, and because it's kind of like a vertical attack, it forces the opponent into a crouching position. So So that can end up messing up any sort of like potential retaliation or how they may end up dealing with it, because it may end up throwing off their like balance or something like that. If you hit to connect this move on counter hits, it ends up knocking them down, and you can whack them with a free back one right there, which just gets grounded. That move there, back one, also is her. It's basically kind of her one of her like high crush moves. So as you see on counter hit, it does launch her. On normal hit, it's just a normal knockback move. So down 4 in general is a good move, and as you see, it does complement down 2 if down 2 was to connect on like counter hit. But yeah, this move is pretty good. All right, another move that I do recommend is her side step 4. All right, this move here is it's a sidestep in low, so that's basically good in itself, but it's also one of the ways that luckily Chloe can enter into her back turn stance. So if you want to try and just annoy an opponent with lows, what you can do is do that and whack them with back turn, her back turn down 3, which is a 10 frame, it's a 10 frame back turn poke. So this is really quick, and if this move, and if sidestep 4 ended up connecting on the opponent, then this move ends up becoming like if it ends up hitting like on normal hits at least, it ends up becoming like a frame trap. So what you could do is use that to try and condition, if you're entering back turn stance with sidestep 4, and you can use that as a way to try and condition the opponent to, you can end up conditioning them to just keep getting hit with that crap. But after a while, what's going to happen is they're going to get tired of getting hit by that, and then you can start doing stuff like this. Alright, you saw right there, that was just a pretty like straightforward back turn combo, and right there, and it did like took out like almost almost 2/3 of the health bar. So yeah, you really want the opponent to kind of fear that combo starter. So that's why I tend to like any moves that can allow Chloe to enter on back turn relatively easily or freely. Like, so obviously, so the sidestep 4 or the back 3, really like both of them. Oh, and if you connect sidestep 4 on counter hit, you can get off a little combo also. So yeah, as you can guess, this move is actually really handy. It's really kind of sneaky for lucky Chloe. All right, just to go over another low that you can use with Chloe and close. Like I already showed you the down back 4, and which has its falls, but another one you can use is her down forward 4. So right there, it does pretty good damage at 23, and also forces a crouch in the opponent. And it's also it's a jump in low, so it's a jump in low. So as you can guess, it will avoid lows. But the thing about it that's neat though is that it can actually be a bit handy when you use it at walls, because whenever an opponent sees you jump, they immediately think hop kick. And I'll just let you know right now that Chloe has 2 of them, and we'll go over them like in a little bit. But just with being a jump and load, I can almost kind of throw off the opponent. If you have an opponent back cornered and they're flustered to what you're like doing, if you're like trying to mix them up or anything, you can actually sneak this move in pretty. You can end up sneaking that move in pretty easily when you're on the offensive and you got the opponent corner. So feel free to go ham on this, obviously until the opponent catches on to it and just jabs you out of it or whatever. But yeah, that is a good low. Another low you can try, even though it's not as recommended, since I do think that down back 4, down 4 are the good ones. You can try down 3+4, which does have a follow-up. Like right there was, if you get the timing right, then it starts off as a low, then it can end off with a mid and and Chloe, as you go there, goes lucky. Then you have your back turned, and you get access to your to your favorite combo starter. If you just simply hold down to do 3+4, you can get both. So you get 2 sets of lows. So, but you have to be like a little careful if that does end up getting blocked. But this can be a low that can be another way to enter into Chloe's into her back turn stance. But yeah, but in general, you'll probably be using down back 4 more and use down forward 4, particularly in corners. If you're looking for a move for counter hits because you're facing an opponent that's just mashing on the buttons too much from negative, then I recommend back 4. Alright, as you can see with that move, it allows you to get your, as you can see, your common combo filler, which is down forward 1. Like this move is just so damn good. But yeah, with the knee to the gut or crotch, depending on the height of the opponent. This right here does allow you to get it does allow you to set up a nice little counter hit combo. The move comes out in 16 frames, is safe on block around like -8, and it, well, if it connects on normal hit, it's still positive. But yeah, the point of this move is to get that little crumple stun. To go along with the forward 4 that the scoop move I showed earlier, another move that you can use also to get in if you want is your forward 3. So right there, it's a nice move. You also, if you want to both like create distance or like get in on the opponent, this is basically a nice little mid-range poke. I mean, yeah, you basically just get a knockdown on whether it's normal hit or counter hit, but this move is fully safe on block at -6, so this is a nice little move right now. Alright, let's just talk a bit about Chloe's hop kicks now. I'll just let you know that she has 2 of them. Up forward 3 and up forward 4. Both of them come out in 15 frames, and they're both negative on block. I will give a warning though that up forward 3 is -15 on block, so obviously any opponents with a 15 frame launcher can punish you, which I'm pretty sure is like almost any character. But yeah, with this move you have to be really careful, because yeah, if you end up misusing it, Chloe can get her ass punished for that. Although up forward 4 I think is a -13, so yeah, you can't be launch punished for it, but you can still be like jabbed or like down forward 1 with it. So yeah, this move you can technically be punished too, but you can't really be punished by anything significant for it. So I do tend to like this one. Unfortunately, with this one is you can't really use this as like as a whiff punish. Like this is solely just either an interrupt or a low crush. So main thing though is that if you think you're gonna beat down an opponent's attack, or if you think they're gonna push buttons from negative, then this move can be, well, this move is obviously a great anti-Abare type move, but yeah, for whip punishment, its range is kind of shit. So if you want to whip punish with a hop kick, you're gonna have to try up forward 3. It's like, and I already end up saying the downside about that is that it's launch punishable on blocks, so you do have to be like a little careful on that. Alright, continuing on with Chloe's launchers, apart from the obvious hop kicks, she also has her down forward 2, which also has follow-up. And allows like for a little like combo follow-up there with her forward 2, 1+2. But yeah, for the combo off this, it's just down forward 2, then you simply go 4, 3, 4, 3, 1. Then but it's like a slight, just from here I can show you what it ends up saying here, if I can end up finding out. See, crump special. It's also can be done from her. Oh yeah, that's the demo. That's the demo right there. So it's also can be done from her or while rising. Now let me try it. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same string. What it is just considered an on-hit just frame. So once one move hits, you just hit the next one, then the next one. But it's not really I wouldn't necessarily call it a tight just frame, but you do have to like hit each move pretty clearly. But it does feel like there's a slight you can buffer it to bits, so it's not really a true just frame. But yeah, you do have to get each move. You do have to get each move in like the correct sequence for it to end up working out. After this though, I generally just usually go for like a standard. I just usually end up going for a standard juggle as opposed to like end up doing the string. So just do that, then end up using your, and then like just using like your forward after that. Let me just try this again. Yeah, I just ended up doing the standard combo there where you just do 3 down forward 1s, then just do forward 2, 1 plus 2, then dash and forward 2, 1 plus 2. Like with that juggle filler, that works usually off of majority of Chloe's launcher. So yeah, I mean if you just need a go-to combo, just honestly just do that. Alright, continuing on with Chloe's launchers, another one you can try is just to do like the 3-4. So you can get your like your bread and butter off with that, and I also do recommend it as kind of your wall slamming move. I mean after a wall juggle. With this you can kind of just check the opponent a bit. With just 3, which it looks like as you can see right there, it says mid, even though you're clearly kicking the opponent in the face. But then after you can kind of sneak that in, for instance, like during like neutral, and you can probably intercept a move or end up slightly whip punishing something. Then you can try that as an option too, and just getting the usual combo filler there. Another launcher she does have is her down back 1 plus 2. This one's not, even though it's a pretty high launcher, it's not really as recommended because it's kind of a slow ass move at like I think about 25 frames, and it's minus 16 on block, so it is launch punishing, but it does allow a back 4 for combo filler, which does slightly more damage than doing the continuous down forward 1, so you can get very slightly more damage off doing that, but I'd probably say the risk is probably not worth it. So instead you can do with punishment, use the up forward 3 or use your back 1 or your down forward 2 for anything like that. An actual sneaky launcher that Chloe does have is off of her full crouch move. Like I'll just show a couple right here. The first is she has her full crouch down forward 1 or full crouch down forward 2. They're both decent moves, but a sneaky move she has from her is her down forward 4. See right here, it causes a similar combo start stun or crumple stun as a counter hit back 4. So yeah, and you can get your usual like combo filler off it too. So depending on which one you like prefer or while rising 2, you can use either option, even though I probably would simply recommend using while rising 2 more as your from crouch launcher, but this move just looks pretty badass in the place to make that. Oh, and I also forget my favorite key move. Like you can see right there, good old back turn forward 3 plus 4, 3 plus 4, 3 plus 4. Alright, I went over quite a bit of this move right now, but one thing I did allude to mention is that the final hit of the move is actually only minus 9 on block, so yeah, I mean if the opponent actually just simply blocks the whole string, you're actually safe. But just to give a little heads up, the way how an opponent should be punishing the move is by sidestepping one of the previous parts of the string, because the string does hit multiple times, so they should be trying to sidestep it before you finish in order to punish it. But if they don't, then yeah, this is really not a string that you want your opponent to be able to easily spam against you, because of just how damn dangerous it can be. So yeah, there's another way to enter back turn that I alluded to, is just simply using our forward 4-4 back. As you can see right there, it's also a launcher, so it does allow you to get to. It does allow you to get the guaranteed back turn forward 3+4, 3+4, 3+4. So this move is pretty handy. You can also do it from forward also and get the usual combo filler, but it will be slightly unsafe at -13 if you do it forward. If you do the back turn version, then you'll end up being -9, which is which obviously makes it a lot safer. So as you can guess, I usually do prefer going at the back turn. You can get the usual. You can usually go for like the usual combo filler. So that move is pretty good. To let you know, her power crush move is her. The power crush move is her back 1+2. All right, this move it activates in 20 frames, but because it's an armor move. This is the move you use with Chloe to absorb your opponent's attack. So anytime your opponent's trying to excessively pressure you, or is simply going ham on the buttons, use this move as a bit of a get off me move. All the hits that connect are, particularly on block, also they all jail, so all hits, and then you see it on whenever it connects, it always knocks the opponent down. The string is safe on block at -8. I'd probably say the only real kind of weakness I found with this move is just that it's all high, so if the opponent does a move that's crouching, then they can end up avoiding the attack and end up doing damage. Because like with any sort of power crush armor move, you always take the damage and it stays. Like, it's not like in 2D fighters where armor damage is recoverable. In Tekken 7, armor damage is just completely chips, and you can get hit multiple times before this move intercepts them, and then you take all the damage. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But generally, I love using this as like a get the hell off me move. So yeah, that move is their so this move is your kind of handy move to use in a pinch, apart from like an obvious like hop kick or something to try and stop the opponent from trying to overpressure you. So of course, this is recommended. They're like also using like proper frame traps or anything like that. Like if you end up doing this and the opponent has advantage, and they'll just punch you out of the air and can end up like comboing you for that. So something you just be a bit careful of. All right, so along with the obvious, the aforementioned back 3, another Homan tracking move you can do with Chloe is just simply her peak 1+2, which is similar to similar to her forward to 1+2. So yeah, that's another Homan option. Although I mean, for go-to, like for track and Homan, I definitely highly recommend just using back 3, because I mean, yeah, when Chloe's in back turn, she also has access to the back turn forward 3+4, and as you know, it leads to that big ass launcher. But the actual roll itself is a high crush, so if you know the opponent is gonna jab, then you can roll to avoid it. And if you confirm that you end up going under a high, then you can then end up getting the full launcher. So yeah, that is so yeah, Chloe is really that's actually what makes Chloe really dangerous from back turn, is it's just making opponents fear that roll into launcher. All right, let's take a look at Chloe's rage arts now. All right, just go to the other settings, player rage, then just put that bad boy on, and now Chloe's on fire. All right, Chloe's rage arts is pretty unique.
Here we go.
I mean, it's the only rage arts in Tekken 7 that hits low, and it gives you the opportunity to get in additional damage by timing a 3 press to coincide with her little breakdancing kicks that she has. You can do it up to 6 times for an additional 15 damage. If you get 4 or 5 correct consecutive hits, then you get, it doesn't have to be consecutive, but 4 or 5 correct hits, then you'll get an extra 10 damage for 60, which is also really good though. So I'll show you right here. So if you don't like do anything or you only get 3 or less, then you just get 50 damage and you get that little pose. If you can get all... Oh, I messed it up. So right there, if you get 5, then you get the lucky, and if you can see if I can get all of them right now. So if you get all 6 of them, then you get this nice big ass punch there at the end, and it looks pretty badass. What I actually do recommend to try and help you kind of get down the timing a bit for it is think of almost like a pounding, like when you're in training mode and practice it, almost like yell out like C-H-L-O-E, lucky! There, and you can end up like helping out. So almost think of like you gotta tap out a rhythm. I missed the first hit though, but once you can get used to getting down the rhythm, I actually find one of the trickier parts is just getting down the timing of that first hit, then maintaining the rhythm throughout. But even if you just get the 4 or 5 and get the 60 damage, that's still really good. That's still really good though. So yeah, as you can guess, this for rage arts alone is almost like it makes this character worth playing. So yeah, I mean, getting it down is a blast. All right, now on to Chloe's rage drive, her down forward 3+4. This move is actually pretty. It's actually pretty crazy in itself. Like the first part of it looks like her her full crouch down forward and 4, but with this it's kind of neat in the sense that it gives you an opportunity to get high damage in itself. If you can see if I can just get down a particular follow-up. Like right there, if you hit a peak, the 1+2, right as Chloe does the 1, 2, and you end up hitting on 2, then she can end up doing like a minimum, like as you saw right there. You can get a minimum 72 damage. If you're able to just frame it, you can get actually an additional 6 damage on top of that for 78. Let me see if I can get it down. Oh wow, nothing. There you go. Look at that badass damage. You also can do a little combo off it if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right there you can get off some combos there with the down forward 2 fall for the usual down forward ones. Both those can connect. In order to get it to work, you have to hold back, or what will happen is Chloe will just simply go into her dance stance. So you have to hold down, then she'll just go into back turn, and just simply press forward to go in and just do whatever like follow-ups that you're doing. As for Lucky Chloe's throw game, I find it to be pretty standard, though she does have a unique throw in her down forward 1+2. It doesn't do any damage, but it does leave her behind the opponent on her back turn, which I think you get stuff like down 1 or down back +3 I think are guaranteed, but in terms of launcher combos, I'm not pretty sure if you can get anything guaranteed, so you can just try one of her 15 frame launchers and see what you can get. Right there is just simply 3, 4, down forward 1, down forward 1, 3, 4. So something like that is just really simple, but you get 58 damage, which is very respectable throw. So feel free just to explore with that. Alright, before I finish off, I'm just going to go over a unique stance in Chloe, which is this little dancing stance here. Alright, this string, it does have multiple options, but the thing you can do with it is do it continuously until she counts up to about 8, and you can actually, then she just loops after that. But the key to actually getting it down is on every second number, input it right there. So 1, 2, then input, you have to alternate between down back 3 and down back 4. Down back 3. So then it's like alternating between it, and you have to get it to sound like a continuous stream of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a gimmicky string, but if you can get off here in a match, you'll feel like a complete badass god. I mean, although if you're playing Lucky Chloe, you're already you're already a badass god, so yeah, of course. But as for other options out of the string, you have a launcher there. You have end up having a launcher there and just your usual filler. Other things also you can go into. You can end up going into her scoot and doing the scoot string, and or most common thing you're probably gonna do is just simply do her jab string to stop opponents from interrupting you. You have to be careful that the left foot stance, so the down back 4 is a little bit more interruptible, so you do have to be a bit careful with that. But yeah, you do want to try and keep opponents from interrupting you with this low. As for lows, I generally just simply prefer this one, but you do get a little more mix-up opportunity with that move. Anyways, that's it for now. I just want to thank you for sticking with me throughout this this nice little Lucky Chloe journey here. If you have any questions about anything, just feel free to let me know in the comments below. I also have a Twitter and a Twitch. You can a Twitter and a Twitch you can contact me too. I will let you know that I'm not an expert at Tekken, so just like you guys, I'm still also learning this game, learning Tekken 7 though. So yeah, that is one thing to keep in mind. I'll just let you know probably. I mean, there's like a million reasons to play Lucky Chloe, but I'll just let you know that I personally think your taunts are OP. Let me get it right now. Like here, if you do like that in a match, then you'll like do some like serious assault. Let me try another one now.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this though. I mean, this. Oh, come on. Like this stuff here, this is just pure awesomeness right here. Anyways, this is Force of Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.
You win.
See you next time. Bye.